Yeah, it's a mess.
Lime vibe ความแลกไว้ lime ความแลกไว้ vibe Lime vibe ความแลกไว้ lime ความแลกไว้ vibe Lime vibe โอ้ Lime vibe
LimeVibe, and welcome once again to another LimeVibe Live podcast. I'm your host, Yuri Araman Kemp, here in the Bahamas, along with my co-host, Miss Kimberly Ramkalawan from Trinidad and Tobago. How you doing, Kim?
I'm doing fine, Yuri. How are you?
Well, all is good, all is good. I had a good day today, man. I had a little exam today, but I think I did well in that, so I think I'm in a good space. I'm in a good mood tonight. I'm in a good mood tonight. How about you?
I'm good. Well, we're starting an hour early here in Trinidad because I'm following you guys who've reverted the clock because you all follow daylight savings time.
Yes.
Y'all are like the great US of A. Y'all have to turn back your clocks while we just, have to go with the flow with you guys.
Yes.
I'm playing catch up a little bit because y'all have come back and yeah.
That's good. So no more late nights for you. So we're on even keel now, Kim. Together on an even playing field. That's good. Yeah, so we sprung forward, so it's our ahead now. So we got the daylight saving time for the farmers. They said this is because of the farmers, really. They said that the farmers really needed this extra day and this extra hour in the day so they could plant their crops more in the summer and the springtime and the summer. So because this daylight saving time is for the farmers. Do some research and you see that it's for the farmers to get an extra day in the extra hour in the day to plant more crops and extend the year.
So they said because of this, you've got 123-hour day in early spring and 125-hour day in the middle of autumn.
Yeah.
And I still don't get it. I know my cousins abroad in the United States, they complain, oh, it's still pitch black, from 4 o'clock in the evening. And they've got to deal with that. They're still coming out in the darkness at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Still complaining of that here. I mean, we see it a little bit in Trinidad. Usually by 5 a.m. it's a little bright and it gets like that. So as the year progresses, closer to Christmas and during so-called Caribbean winter months, you get it dark until probably a little after 6, 6:15, 6:30 or so.
Yeah, that was like around October, right?
It starts around October. Usually when we have Diwali, which is I think it's a Hindu festival. It's the darkest night of the year. I think it's because of the distance of the moon. So we gauge it from that. Based on that, because you get less light hours in a day, and you start to see it getting dark as early as minutes to 6, and stuff like that.
All right, that's cool. So you guys do a little different to that.
Yeah.
So,
we don't change the time, we don't change the clocks. We just know, we just gauge the day by how the sunlight goes, call it ancient. I mean, we know it's a time and we say, okay, well, this time of year, it's darker, this hour, so.
Yeah, I noticed by that time as well, because I realized like coming towards the end of August, the early part of October, I realized that the sun is really setting a little earlier. Yeah. And then even before the time rolls back an hour. So I'm realizing that it's really starting to get around that time where the time is going to change. And I'm not sure which part of the year, like where I like it, but it's sprung forward or when it's fall back. I'm not sure. I guess it all depends on how I feel that year.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, how I feel. But
we
right
have
now,
all sentimental reasons.
Oh yeah, indeed. Like it's right now I have an extra hour to work out in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still dark out, so I can get that extra mile in for the job before I hit the gym. So I feel good about that. So, and then I have a lot more time to work in the daylight. So I'm up and I'm rocking and rolling. I'm ready to roll. I have more time to stay, more time to work. So I enjoy this time too. But I also enjoy the intimacy of the fall back. You know what I mean? Like when it starts to get that darkish, like around, let's say 5:30, 5:36. I love that intimacy. It feels cozy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so. I mean, it gets colder as well here. Because I would always recall my teenage years where I went to school. We actually finished school at 5:30 in the
Really?
evening. Yeah. So I went to a shift school,
Okay.
and that's a junior high school.
Mhm.
And I would actually go to school for like 11:30 in the morning, and we would finish school around 5:15, 5:30. The school was on situated on a hill, and there was the pine trees, and it used to get really chilly on the third floor where we sat. And it used to feel really cold, and they would let us out 15 minutes early because they know it's getting darker.
Yeah, yeah.
Got to get home. And that's when September term comes, the school term usually starts at that time. To Easter, you've got that extra time, and it always reminds me of that period. And then you look at how the sunset looks at you, and it comes through your window and on your curtains. You know, the light, the change of the light within your house, and that too gives you that sentimental feeling as to how to feel.
Yeah, yeah, I gotcha. But how was you say you went to school at 11 o'clock? How was your transition into the working life, considering that you spent most of your school life coming to school at 11 o'clock in the morning?
Well, that was for the first 3 years. That's between ages until you write 14 plus, right? There's something called 14 plus. And then you transition into senior secondary school. And that was 14 until 18. And we went full day 8 to 2:30, 8 a.m. to 2:30.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the usual day. It took some time getting used to it because I used to feel sleepy. But I was kind of used to it in the sense that even though I went to school for 11:30 in the morning, I would still get up at around 6 a.m. because I went for extra classes on mornings for 7:30, and I would do that extra class 7:30 till 10:30 a.m., come home, get ready, and then go to school. I went to something called a junior sec here in Trinidad. Yeah, people would usually think I went to some fancy convent or girl high school. I did not.
You say you went to public school, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Ah, yeah. But you don't show it though. They normally say public school students are a bit slower than the private school students, but that's not the case, right?
They say public students are what? I didn't hear you there.
A little slower than the private school students. But I honestly, I don't see that in you.
People may beg to differ. I mean, I hear it all the time. I'm not going to point it out here though. But I mean, I think my parents tried to compensate for it. That's why I went to extra lessons on mornings. And they tried to bump me up with whatever extracurricular activities. I do not regret the school system I went to because it made me the person that I am. When I went to those schools, I really excelled. I really worked well for given the conditions. I had really good teachers actually that were very supportive, and I entered a lot of academic competitions, and I won several science competitions for my school back then.
That's good. That's good. Because oftentimes the teachers, the educators in the public school sector, they don't really care about the students. But I do know that once you're a teacher, you always gravitate towards a student that's wanting to learn more. Because especially if you love your subject that you're teaching, you want to be able to impart that knowledge. So you really have to love teaching. So you know, you fell in great hands, and then your parents too have you under their wing. So that's good, Kim. That's always the most important part, you know. Your parents have to play an active part in your education. Otherwise, it won't work.
I mean, my dad especially, my dad, we aren't a rich family, I would say that. My dad, I always talk about my dad working multiple jobs to make ends meet here in Trinidad. And he did that to ensure that we had a good education and a solid footing. We always had, you know, make our ends meet here. And so he made that sacrifice for us. You know, I always talk about that.
That's good. Like, you love your dad, I guess.
Yes, I do.
That's nice.
I always talk about my parents. They sacrificed a lot for us to have what we have today. So I'm forever grateful for my mom and my dad.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I love my mom. I don't really know my dad as much because he passed away when I was about 12 years old. I knew him as somewhat of in my young adolescent years, but I don't really know him like that. I spoke to him a few times, but I don't really know him to say, oh, that's my dad. He gave me a part of this much knowledge into me. You know, and I miss that growing up as a teenager and a young adult, because I would have loved to have hear my father speak to me about certain things, especially about women and about interacting with people. I miss that discipline. I'll tell you, I miss that discipline because no one could raise a boy like a father could.
Yeah, I know that for sure. Even daughters. I mean, my dad never had any sons of his own, but I think having my dad in my life compared to my friends and family that does not have any male figures, that do not have any male figures in their lives, do
Yes.
not that do not know their dad, their fathers. You see a difference because of the role model my dad had in my life, the place, the position he had in my life. I think I was able to know how to look for a mate, you know, a person in my life. I think so. I mean, he told me, okay, this is what you need to look for. I knew what to look for, and actually, my husband. Oh my
Really?
God, their birthdays are 14 days apart. They share such similar personalities. It's in the sense that they're calm. My dad's a calm, mellow guy. He does get angry, but he will be stern. And the way he handles a situation, he's always been ambitious, hardworking. It's values and traits like that that you see in your father you're going to look for.
Yes,
And
yes,
then him spending time with us as his daughters, talking to us about what's important in life, what you need to do, you know, focus on this. Um, and that's always been our conversation. He always sat down and talked to us as teenagers. You know, you didn't have to be afraid to talk to him. Um, you could talk to him about anything almost. He was there to support you with schoolwork. He was there to support us and protect us. He was always there, you know, to
It's
guide
just
us.
you and your sister, right?
Huh?
It's just you and your sister, right?
Yeah, just my sister and I. So
You have to introduce me to your sister one day. Yeah,
I
yeah,
shall.
yeah.
But I mean, you could actually see the difference between two of us, but I think he took the time and he spoke to us. So
You
yeah,
say the difference between both of you.
what's that?
I say you were quick to say that you could tell the difference between both you and your sister.
You could tell the difference between both of us, definitely. I think it's because she probably went to an all-girls school. I did not.
Oh, okay, okay.
I probably got exposed to boys and like I really don't care to be around them as teenagers. The thing is, most people usually think because you're going to a co-ed school, you're more than likely to have a boyfriend as a teenager. But you're seeing them interact, especially if they were the ones that went to school with you in primary school and
Yes.
transitioned with you. It's like, I know you since kindergarten. I really butter, you know. So and you know boys, and boys they mature differently from girls.
Yes,
You know, you're way ahead.
yes, yes, indeed,
Yeah.
indeed, indeed.
He
Well,
told
yeah,
he taught us to keep our heads on.
yeah. Don't let them boys take advantage of you, right?
Yeah.
No, there's two girls.
We're talking
But how
about teachers, you know, we saw something happen with Jamaica. Jamaica today, their doctors and teachers signed a wage offer.
really? Okay, okay. After what, a week of protests, right?
Yeah, they did.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was very interesting. I know Trinidadians are jealous of that.
Why? Why so?
Because they've been negotiating since most of the public servants in Trinidad have been working for 2013 salaries. That's 10 years, and inflation
Really?
has gone up so much. Yeah.
Wow.
In Jamaica, their finance minister, Dr. Nigel Clark, I think he announced that there was a $4.3 billion, well, Jamaican dollars allocation in their budget to settle wage agreements.
That's good. Here for Dynasty Clark, man, Dr. Clark.
Yeah. I mean, you're seeing a lot of things happening with their fiscal policies and how they're handling it. So it's and I'm sure they said the teachers return to schools today on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. What about the doctors? The doctors gonna still see people or they're still holding out? They wait till that contract is signed.
I think they said 95% of them on Sunday voted, and they decided to accept the offer.
Good, good. That's right.
That's a good amount. I mean, here in Trinidad, we an odd newscast, they're talking about yesterday, Ministry of Health, they hosted an International Women's Day thing, and the media had asked our minister about the drainage of, we're having a drain of on nursing, on nursing.
That's throughout the region, though, Kim. That's
But it's
throughout
quite a lot, and it's you see a lot of ads popping up lately that America is actually advertising that America is calling for nurses to come over there and work. On top of that, today I heard the U.S. Embassy in Trinidad, they increased their rates for those trying to apply for work permits in the States. So
really?
It's gone up to $1,000, and
Well, that Trinidadian dollars, right?
Yeah, it's quite a lot. People say it's a hefty amount.
That's
because,
a barrier. They don't want you guys out there.
I guess so, but I know a lot of people in Trinidad, especially drivers, people who don't have a fixed income or so. They're looking for avenues to earn an income, and they usually go out for the 6 months period, and they work on farms. They usually work on farms for harvest periods, planting, things like that.
They still do that?
Yeah. I did not know it was so much prevalent in the United States. I know a lot of guys went to Canada and they worked on the farms there. But I did not know that the United States needed people, because I thought that they depended on the Mexicans and things like that.
I thought so too.
Those groups of people. Yeah.
Wow. But that quote unquote contract service, that goes back to my grandfather, because my grandfather's father was on the contract. Actually, that's how my great grandfather, that's how he met his wife. My grandfather, he met on the contract in Miami, Florida. Actually, my grandfather was born in Florida.
Okay, wow.
So my great grandfather met his wife while they were on the contract in Florida. And
what were they working
on? They were working on a farm. They called it the contract. I can't remember which farm it was, but they all were on this quote unquote contract. They call it the contract work. And so a lot of Bahamians, they went to South Florida, particularly Homestead, South Florida, where they worked on these strawberry farms and these pineapple farms and things like that. So yeah, it was prevalent back in the 1930s, 1920s, 1930s.
Okay, because I know at one point in time, Florida was big on sugarcane, right? And,
sugarcane as well. Yep.
I know them just for oranges. I don't know them for
oranges and strawberries. Oranges, strawberries, and sugarcane.
Okay, wow, interesting.
Yeah. And actually, strawberries are still big in Homestead, Florida right now, actually, alongside oranges.
Okay.
But I didn't realize that people were still going back and forth on these quote unquote contract work. I thought that was something from my grandfather's era, not something that's still prevalent today. I thought that had ceased.
I knew it from Canada. I did not know America still entertained Caribbean workers there. We're seeing the nursing staff going to America because they're looking for greener pastures.
Yes.
Right?
Do you really blame them though?
No, I don't. But I can understand the predicament the government has gotten into. That we have nursing schools here in Trinidad, and they would have funded that. You sign up for training, you register with the nursing association in order to practice, and as soon as you graduate, a lot of them, they wait a long time to get jobs. I know I have several of my friends who became nurses, and it took them quite a while before the Ministry of Health took them in.
Wow.
And it was almost daunting. I know for a few of them it was daunting. They felt as though it was not going to happen. And I used to send applications for one of them in particular until she got through with one of the regional health authorities here. But I still send her applications just in case she wants to go. I know she has family abroad. It's an opportunity for her to go. I'm always hearing her situation in Trinidad.
Oh Lord, there's the same thing here in the Bahamas as well. We have nurses waiting to get onto the hospital for years, man. And the intake is just so daunting, like how you say. I mean, you would think that we would need nurses, but they just find it takes so long to bring them in. But they treat them like second-class citizens here, like they don't need nurses, but everyone knows you need a nurse. The doctors can't work unless they have a nurse.
Exactly. Now, on nurses, I mean, if we really were to analyze Trinidad and Tobago's healthcare system, sometimes you face the attitude of the nurses. I've been privileged that I've actually dealt with some really nice ones. They've been really helpful and courteous. And my friends, they talk about it, but some people really deal with some really arrogant ones, right?
Yeah.
And they can be rough with you, even in your most horrible situation.
Well, I found that most people who work in hospitals, doctors and nurses, they're very, very rough and they're very, very sour. They're very, very rude, to be honest with you. And I can understand why, because they're dealing with death and different people all day. So their spirit is really soaking a lot of sorrow and a lot of pain. And so they have nothing else to do but just to transfer that back onto you. So you really have to take that in your stride. You can't really take that to heart because they deal with death. Can you imagine now? You're in the operating room now with a mother who's about to give birth, and the child dies, and the mother's on the brink of death. How do you feel about that?
I mean, you'd want to cry, obviously.
Exactly. So you're not in a good mood. You're not in a good mood having to tell a guy that he's about to die in the next 2 weeks because he has an incurable cancer, an incurable disease. You don't feel good. So I could take that. I give them a pass for that. You know, but then I find
I don't think that's a reason. I think it calls for a degree of compassion.
Yeah.
I mean, you actually do see them in some situations. I mean, I've been grateful that I've gone in for procedures and things like that, and they were really, really nice and careful. I'm praying it continues that way every time I do.
Yes.
Yeah,
to pray for patients.
Everybody always talk about, okay, so if our nurses are doing this, are they carrying the same attitude abroad because it's going to represent? I don't think they're going to do that.
They're just stressed. They're stressed. I would take it too hard, especially if they're dealing with someone who isn't sick. I'm just there visiting. I'm in their way, to be honest. I'm in their actual workplace, so I'm in their way. So I just take it in my stride. But I hope they don't take it on the patient. I don't see the doctors. I don't think that they do. I just think that it just comes down to people who are in the hospital or in the clinics and just in the way, especially when they're trying to move from patient to patient. You have to give them that space, and we're in their work environment. So I understand what you mean. Just hope that they keep patient with you, and you don't want to be mad when they see you, right?
No,
because that could be kind of complications for you. So get them a blind. Get them a blind.
I'll keep that in mind next time, perhaps. But
Especially
I mean, in Trinidad, we have a situation where we actually have doctors from India, Nigeria. We have nurses from the Philippines and Cuba. Working in our system. And then we've got all local, there are cohorts coming out annually. And are we employing them if we're not? But you have these nurses from abroad. I could understand the need for the foreign nurses because sometimes you need specialized nurses. I'm not sure to the extent as to what our education system offers here when it comes to training on nurses. So most of the nurses that are abroad are because they are ICU specialized nurses, pediatric nurses, things like that, nurses that are specialized.
Yes.
That is something that requires external assistance, I guess.
Migrant workers.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys are full of Filipinos as well. We have our fair share of Filipinos here. And they come and they work in the hospital, they do so much other stuff, man. They open up businesses. They're like, this is the best they've ever had it here in the Bahamas, man. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm serious. It's crazy how they come in. They just find their Filipino network and they branch out into all kinds of different stuff, man.
I mean, I can't tell them. I only see them when I go to the hospitals, though. I don't see them really outside so much. I can't tell them apart. Really? I mean, we have some doctors that are outside, they have their private practice, but no, I can't.
Oh yeah, they'll multiply, Kim. Watch out for them. They're just
like Chinese. I've been here since Prime Minister Manning's days. Since 2004, 2005. I remember being in the hospital and a Filipino nurse, helping me. I was trying to explain to her, it's really cold. I have needles on my arms. I have the chips bag. It's like, I need you to help me put on socks, and they can't understand. So there's a language barrier there, unless she didn't want to help me because it was midnight when I got admitted. It's like, it's
I know,
midnight.
I know.
I really don't care.
You know. But speaking of health, though, there's another health-related story that came out of St. Vincent and Grenadines, man. Did you hear about this? Ah, a judge in St. Vincent and Grenadines, I get a name, Judge Esco,
Henry.
Judge Esco, what's her name? Oh, goodness. Oh, sorry, let me open the story.
Justice Esco Henry.
I didn't hear you. Yeah, Justice Esco Henry, yeah. She let several St. Vincent and Grenadines public servants go back to work and reinstate them with the full benefits because they refused to take the vaccine under the COVID-19 protocols and rules. So she said that they could be reinstated on their jobs with full benefits, said the judge. Said it was unlawful that the Public Service Commission and the police commissioner, they acted unlawfully by terminating them and letting them go from their jobs for reasons that they didn't want to take the COVID-19 vaccine. So that's good for Justice Henry, you know, and that's going to be a landmark case moving forward, you know, because you could see that in the rest of the other Caribbean countries, Commonwealth Caribbean countries, you know, applying that. Because I can imagine that people were trying to tell you, like, you have to take the vaccine or you wouldn't be able to go to work. This is a case that anyone could stand on. But any other case, any other force mandate, any other vaccine mandate, that you could stand on. This case here by Justice Henry. So you're gonna hear a lot about this case moving forward. The same in St. Vincent and the Grenadines case about, you know, people being reinstated on the job for their refusal to take a vaccine, COVID-19.
That happened here in Trinidad, you know.
Really?
Yeah, Republic Bank had sent home workers, you know, who refused to take the vaccine.
They took it to court?
Yeah, they took them to court. The Bankers and Insurance General Workers Union took them to court, and they had a reinstatement. And then they said, oh, well, yeah. So it happened from 2021 to 2022. And there was about 302 workers that were not vaccinated. And here's the thing, right? They had actually mandated them that they have to, if they're not taking the vaccine, that they would have to take a PCR test every 2 weeks. Here in Trinidad, a PCR test is still 900 TT dollars.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
that is over 100 US. Yeah. And that's a good, that's a dent in your salary.
Yeah, it is.
So, that was their disciplinary action. It was unfair. It was ruled that it was unfair. So they had to Ariel tried to, you know, make it look like it's not so bad. Okay, we're going to cave in and say we discontinue workplace COVID-19 vaccination policy and la la la. But
you slipped and said killed just then. Realize that, right?
I said discontinued its workplace COVID-19 vaccination policy. Okay. What did I say?
You said something killed. That is, they could kill and you change it to carry on. So
okay.
Slip, yeah. Republic Bank could kill them with the vaccine. That's what you're saying?
You know, they had to get rid of that policy, right? And they had to cave in. I think I said cave in, something to that effect.
Cave in, yeah.
Right.
And you never said kill, but you changed it to cave in. So Republic Bank nearly killed or caved in. Yeah. All right, I wouldn't tease you.
So
yeah. So yeah, so we have two cases now, one for the public service in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and one for the private sector in Trinidad and Tobago. So we have precedent now to stand on anyone trying to force you to any kind of vaccine. You know, and these cases go either which way because no public servant and no agency, private sector otherwise, can force you to do anything with regard to your health. That's important for the Commonwealth Caribbean because I don't know if you see it, Kim, but these governments are getting really heavy-handed because the people now are starting to sink back into this letting the government do everything. And so this right now is a strike for democracy and freedom. And it's good to see that it's vibrant still, that some judges are willing to stand up for democracy and freedom. And I love this kind of vibrancy inside our Commonwealth Caribbean. You know, stand up for rights, stand up for your individual rights. You know, if you don't take a vaccine, you don't take a vaccine.
You mean obviously they still encourage them that you still need to take it. They still would, you know, they're still trying to coerce them to taking it. But many are saying no. I mean, if we don't want to take it, we're not going to take it.
Yeah, let me die. So if they want to die from COVID-19, that's fine. You know, that's their choice. Who are we to save them, right? But still, though, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. At the same time as well, you know, we have to be more common sense with these issues too. You know, because at the end of the day, we don't want anybody else to get sick, right? So we have to take our precautions. We have to keep everyone else safe. So I think by charging them for PCR tests was the right thing to do. You know, since you don't want to take the vaccine, okay, make sure you're safe around us. There's like the no smoking ban inside public places, you know. So we know how bad and harmful secondhand smoke is, right? But so stand outside. So keep everybody safe. You know, let's keep everybody safe. Do the right thing. I think that's important. So other than that, other health news, Kim, I lost another 10 pounds. You wouldn't see because I'm sitting down. Yeah, I lost another 10 pounds when I got on the scale. That's about 10 pounds in about 2 weeks. So I'm going to get down to 220 by the end of Lent. Kim, I'm serious. I'm going to do it. I'm fasting every day and it's melting off. It's really melting off. I did 6.5 miles this morning. Yeah. I went to the gym. It's melting off, Kim. It's coming. It's coming down. I'm going to get back to it, Kim. It's just staying to my diet and making sure I keep that exercise up. I'm feeling healthy and vibrant, man.
So what's your diet like though?
Pardon?
What's your diet like?
Oh, I eat a lot of crap, man. Like tonight, it wasn't too bad today, but tonight I had like a garden salad with some blue cheese dressing, and I got some chicken I put on top of the salad. And so yeah, I've been eating salads for the past 2 months now. My friend Marcia turned me on to salads. I mean, she didn't turn me on to salads, but she upped my salad game. Because I went there and she cooked an amazing salad. And she had everything with the chicken on top and the olives, and it was beautiful, man. So I upped my salad game. So I'm enjoying salad, and I realized I could put meats on my salad instead of having rice. Get the salads, put my meats on top, get the olives and everything, get the salad dressing, keep it healthy, keep it looking good, man. So she upped my salad game. Thank you so much, Marcia. I really appreciate you for that. And so I've been doing salads, man. And this fasting is really doing good for me. My skin feels better. And actually, you want to hear something? I don't sound like a freak, right? I actually enjoy the dizziness in the day. That hunger dizziness, it actually gets me going. It makes me feel good. Yeah, I feel vibrant. I get jittery and I feel up. I get that energy boost,
Okay.
It's good.
You've got to incorporate the juicing now. I mean, the juicing adds a next layer. And you actually feel full with your juice.
With the juices,
yeah, so we usually blend up like the celery, the ginger, the green apple. What else do we add? And we add like the orange juice. The ginger usually helps with the inflammation. You can add beet, you can add a carrot, we add cucumbers. It's all green and it works. And it's like eating a salad, but you're slipping it up, and it adds it gives you that greater surface area of vegetables and fruit, but you just blended it up and you're slurping it.
Sounds like you're gonna be up and down to the bathroom, Kim. That's what you want.
No. If you have that in the morning, so I'm not adding like any. I know some people would usually add like bananas and almond milk. I'm not adding that. This is pure green stuff, and you blend it up. And you can have that on mornings, like probably after you finish your jog, and you have that before breakfast, like 30 minutes before your main meal or something. I mean, I do salads as well. Sometimes it's pure vegan. You can add your like nuts and your pumpkin seeds and chickpeas and things like that. I like the salad niçoise because you think you can add. Well, I don't eat seafood, but it's salad niçoise. Is it French? And they do a boiled egg with tuna.
Really?
I think they even have they.
I love that.
Yeah, they actually incorporate a boiled potato too that's mixed up in the vinaigrette. That's interesting. So it adds some body to the salad. I also like to do a carrot ginger vinaigrette. So it's roasted carrots, and I pulverize it with some ginger, some honey, apple cider, red wine vinegar, and it makes a really rich, very vivid, bright orange dressing, and it's creamy too. Never thought carrots could be creamy.
That's good. That's good. So
Yeah,
you
salads
have,
are interesting.
yeah, they are. You could mix it up in so much different ways. Like I told you, my friend Marcy, she upped my salad game. I didn't realize you could do a salad like that. So I said, wow, let me start experimenting. And now I even have my mom who comes in salad as well. She loves them, you
Yeah,
know. She loves them, man. And
some
I
good.
love my olives with chocolate. I love it with olives and onions. So all I need is my lettuce, my iceberg lettuce or whatever, and my olives, my onions. I have a salad right there. My cherry grape tomatoes. My cherry grape tomatoes. I
Oh,
need them.
that's bougie here in Trinidad.
That's bougie. Wow. No, man. The cherry grape tomatoes are the best. They're the best. They taste so sweet.
I mean, those are costly here. I mean,
Mm.
I think we've even started to see some local farmers growing them. But we usually have the plum tomatoes, normal tomatoes we use, yeah.
Okay. I mean, of
But
course, I eat the regular tomatoes, right? But still, the cherry grape tomatoes they're lovely. They're lovely, man. You said I sound bougie, Kim? Because I like cherry grape tomatoes. I'm insulted. I'm insulted. I'm trying to share my health benefits with everybody else on this
no,
podcast.
you were specific on the cherry tomatoes, right? Cherry tomatoes, I always remember seeing Rachel Ray put the cherry tomatoes between the two lids, and she would just pass the knife through it, and that's how she cut it in halves. She made put them in halves. So in Trinidad, I think we pay like $50 or $60 for a container of cherry tomatoes, and they were usually imported. Now we're starting to get them growing locally, so they may drop in price, but it's still expensive. Tomatoes are really whole in Trinidad has gotten expensive due to the flooding and stuff last year. So it's a matter of we're learning to embrace eating more local. So, but with carrots and potatoes are dietary basics here in Trinidad, so we've gotten accustomed. They're still reasonably priced. We're not paying too much for it still.
Okay. That's cool. I'm not really a carrot person myself, unless they're really boiled down, really, really soft. I hate the crunch of the carrots. It's too hard.
Really?
Yeah.
But if you grate them though, you're not going to taste it.
But I get the carrot.
As I told you, when you roast it, and you blend it, it's like roasted carrots. I'll send you that recipe.
Yeah, send it. Roasted carrots. I'm interested in that. If they come out soft, I'll if it comes out soft, I'll be interested in it. But roasted carrots, I'll try that. I'll try that.
You can cut them up on sticks and roast it. And you can do that with your sweet potatoes and your pumpkins. So there you have your vitamin A supplement for the day.
So Kim, are you a Rastafarian? That sounds like a Rastafarian dish, man. That sounds like an idol dish, man.
No, it's not. It has salt. It's healthy, but it has salt. I mean,
Kim is Rastafari. You cook an idol.
Idol food in here in Trinidad, we think of like the ground provisions, and you cook it up with saltfish and things. Well, not saltfish, but tomatoes and things like that. Now I'm not vegetarian. But I have been vegetarian part of my life, and I do eat, we try not to eat too much meat sometimes.
But every now and then you need to taste that pork chop, right? That frying pork chop.
I don't eat pork. I have not eaten pork in 20 years.
Wow.
In more than 20 years. 25 years.
But if you smell it frying, you wouldn't be like a bit interested, Kim? The taste of it at the pork chop?
No.
I'll tell you something right now. On my job, especially in my area, there's someone that cooks bacon every Thursday morning. They cook bacon. I'm not sure who it is, but every Thursday morning they have bacon. Because on my regular route, that Thursday route, they cook bacon. And I can smell it, man. I can smell it. And right now during my fast, like so annoying. Like, why are you frying bacon? And you're trying to tease me. Stop frying the bacon, man. And it smells so heavenly. I said, man, my goodness, whoever that person is, they're treating their family well. They are treating their family well, with the good bacon. And it's not that church bacon nonsense. It's a good bacon, Kim. The good bacon.
I remember you talking about the bacon the breakfast, the hotel brunches.
Yeah, man. That's the Bahama. I'm going there tomorrow. Actually, I'm moderating a panel tomorrow for the Royal Fidelity Economic Outlook. So I'm going to be moderating a panel with a lawyer, and your compatriot Mala Dupra is going to be in the panel as well. So I'm going. She's going to. Go Gonna have Mala Dukaran, a guy from McKinney Bankruptcy, who's one of the top law firms here, and our Minister of Economic Affairs is going to be on this panel. I'm going to be moderating this panel. I'm up to the big table, Kim. They've promoted me to the big people's table. I'm not in the Kinney's table anymore. I'm not in the background anymore. I'm up to the big people's table. If you go to the website, you'll see me featured prominently, man. On the Royal Fidelity Economic Outlook. Yeah, I'm one of the people. I'm one of the big shots, man. This is the big people's table, man. Not no small people. This is
are you saying that you're going to be talking or are you covering it?
I'm going to be moderating the panel. I'm going to be
oh my God. Wow.
This is big shot. And guess who else is going to be there, Kim? Ron and Sana from CNBC. He is going to be the first keynote speaker. So I'm an illustrious presence there, Kim. I'm with the illustrious. I'm big shots, man. That's me. That's Yuri Camp. That's Yuri Camp. Yeah, I'm going to be there. Going to be there. So,
I've followed RF. I've followed Royal Fidelity and their annual seminars. I know they're keen on incorporating Miss Dukaran in their panels every year.
Yeah. I think she's affiliated with them to some extent. I think she's
she is.
And she's really sharp. I spoke to her Friday. She's really sharp, man. Really
Definitely. Sharp. Doesn't miss a beat, and she gives spot on analysis, and she gives perspectives that we have never heard before. And I spoke to her last year when it came to what Barbados was doing with IMF. And she explained the whole scenario of, what it means to really go to the World Bank and the IMF. And it's a matter of us, subjecting ourselves to the policies. And there's this notion, she debunked the notion that we've often viewed them as being the boogeyman. But yet you're seeing it work for countries like Jamaica and Barbados. And I think she had even compared it to what was being done in Belize. Belize was doing the opposite. So you have to be able to go with the flow and make sure your policies are in line. And it's no longer where she said that they had admitted to their strict austerity measures. I mean, Trinidad had a bitter taste of them in the late 80s, 90s under the NAR administration. And she explained, they're no longer like that. They've understood that these are developing states. And so it was refreshing to hear explain it that way. But she's been also the one that's been vocal against the EU's financial policies against our Caribbean states. So I admire her speaking out, being vocal, and saying what it is.
Yes, indeed. And actually, if you mentioned the IMF here in the Bahamas is anathema. You're going to get shot point blank range if you mention the IMF, because we see it as failure. We don't want to go to the IMF for any kind of policy, any kind of administrative policy. Even right now, we just got an SDR, and people think, "Oh no, you have to go to the IMF. That means we're broke. That means we're going broke." And people were like running up and down the streets, and they were like blaming the government for getting this drawdown. But at the end of the day, I mean, what else could you do? COVID-19 really hit us hard, man. And we need that extra money.
I mean, I think last week we signed on to an $80 million loan with the IDB. And it was for things, they had the IDB Governors Forum here in Trinidad. I did not get to attend. And I thought that they would have streamed some level of it online, and they did not. But we had Trinidad and Tobago signed on for a loan of $80 million to upgrade its water system. We've had a failing water system in Trinidad for decades, since the 60s. And we don't see this. A lot of Trinidadians, if you talk to them, we don't see it actually remedying anything. It's, they say, when you think of countries like this, they even signed on a loan with the IDB for upgrading our technology when it came to our road and infrastructure. But I mean, everyone's asking, why are we going further in debt? Why are we taking on such loans, and for areas that we don't see it even working or doing anything later on?
So that offense, the IDB is a American Development Bank, is a little different from the IMF, because at least the IDB, they fund projects, whether it be social or infrastructure. But the IMF seems to give money out of clear blue because you're going broke.
Yeah,
And,
yes, yes, I know
and the
that.
time is going to tell with Miss Motley and her going back and forth to the IMF whether or not that's going to pay off, because she got it at a time when she was about to go for re-election, so that money was handy, and so she has paid for an election. And mind you, she's still popular, so it worked out for her. But we're going to see how that money is going to come back and really help Barbados or not. And so we're going to see it in the long run, because
I mean,
especially that she didn't actually campaign on going to the IMF. I said
yeah,
it's over. Her initial campaign, when she won the first time, had nothing to do with the IMF and saving that country from the from economic depression. There
right.
were some other policies about how she's going to do this, how she's going to do that, how she's going to change interest rates, how she's going to invest some money into the poor rural sectors, but nothing to do with the IMF. All of a sudden, the IMF came with a clear blue. And so it's going to be interesting how this plays out for Barbados. So we're going to see that in the next 5 years or so, whether or not it's going to actually hold up and actually going to help Barbados in the long term. Because I have an opinion that the IMF just gives out free money just to hold you hostage. That's my opinion of them. I could be wrong, but I don't see that policies actually have. There's nowhere in the world giving somebody free money actually helps them, Kim. That's why I say the IDB is a bit different, because you're going to get something at least built with it. But the IMF just gives you money because you're going broke. That doesn't help. That only enforces the negative policy that you've been doing. And of course, the IMF have their what you call it, their policies that they want you to follow. They want you to have sounder macroeconomic principles and stronger economic policies and structures. But at the end of the day, are we just padding our bad habits with IMF money, with free IMF money, just to bring them into this country for them to tell us what we need to do, for them to tell us what we need to do? It's just, I don't know. I feel kind of funny about them, Kim. There's something eerie about them.
Do you think that they've changed? I mean,
No,
because
absolutely not.
we're hearing things like, especially with the climate change being touted through resilience and sustainability facilities, and their reform efforts to do these things through their plans. I think Barbados has the BERT 2022, the Economic Recovery and Transformation Plan, and that all falls into it. Because IMF has put out these fancy things called the EFF, Extended Fund Facility, and then they've given these developed countries, the SDRs, access to the special drawing rights. So, and the thing is, as we've seen played out, she's negotiated quite some interesting terms and conditions for Barbados to use these funds and these loans. So, I mean, we wait and see how it's going to work.
Yeah, we'll see. But here's the thing, Kim. It comes down to competency as well, because the IMF primarily doesn't have competency in these kinds of areas. They normally deal with just fiscal matters. So for them to foray into climate change and all these other structural matters is a bit dodgy to me, because at the end of the day, they need a track record of competence on this matter. That's why I say that the places like the IDB and the World Bank, they have a different track record because they fund different projects. They have a different focus for development. With the IMF, they aren't really into development. They're into your fiscal balance and your fiscal spreadsheets and your fiscal balance sheet. So at the end of the day, they may see some things happen with regard to climate change impacts on a country's balance sheet and their terms of trade and their current balance and their fiscal balance. But at the end of the day, do they have the competency to actually fix some of these things? That's the thing. That's the thing with accepting some of the money. So we'll have to wait. We have to wait and see if it actually works out. Now, if Miss Motley, she was able to convince them about a few things, that's fine. But the IMF still has to build in that competency. And of course, there are intelligent people that work for the IMF, but more intelligent than I am. I admit that. However, you need to show a track record of competency on these matters for us to trust you.
But this is something that, I mean, we heard Professor Avinash Prasad raise in his distinguished lecture. I think the Sir Arthur Lewis lecture a few weeks ago. We reported about it in the Caribbean Magazine Plus. And during his lecture, he explained how the IMF works, the World Bank and things like that. And he said what really happened with these institutions was that they were no longer being governed or operated by economists. So their policies were usually just legal jargon, and that's what really tied up people, because it was just really lawyers with no economic background that was, formulating these policies for these countries. And he raised, when he said that, it really explained a lot. And he is spearheading the Bridgetown Initiative with the Myanmar Motley's administration. So we're hoping, I mean, with the Bridgetown initiative, we're hoping to see a change
Mm.
in how the conditions are negotiated. The negotiating power, it gives negotiating power to each country.
Mm.
So yeah, as you say, we will see long term
We will see.
how it really works. I mean, with the
I'm
Bridgetown,
glad Barbados is going first. I'm glad they're going first. So if she blazes a trail, that's fine. That's fine. Who else, Miss Martin? Yeah, that's see what she could do, you know. But if she's the only chance, she's the only hope. That's right, you know. She has the air of these people now, so let's work with her, man. Let's get behind her.
yeah, I'm all for it. I don't want to see any Caribbean country falter or fall. And I think Jamaica did some really good work too with the IMF.
Mm.
And Barbados is right behind. Barbados, I think. Well, tomorrow when you meet Miss Dukran, you could probably ask her a bit about it to give her perspective on these things and the Bridgetown initiative. I don't know. What's the
Yeah.
forum about, by the way?
It's going to be about the global tax initiative. There's 50% global corporate tax. We're not how the Bahamas is going to incorporate that, and how the Caribbean can incorporate that. And so yeah, so it's going to be a panel of about 3 people, a lawyer, an economist, and a minister. And so we're going to get a very vibrant conversation out of them tomorrow, hopefully. So we'll see where their position is. Maybe the other Caribbean countries could glean something from this as well. And I would encourage them to actually tune in if they could, or get a copy of tomorrow's events, so they can see exactly the level of conversation we're going to have tomorrow. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good, because this 50% global corporate tax isn't going anywhere, Kim. And I think it's foolhardy, because my thing is, right, how are you going to get all these countries to implement this global 15% corporate tax?
Yeah.
That's gonna be a big problem, man. That's gonna be a huge problem. And then what if people say no? What if I don't want a global 50% corporate tax? What are you gonna do to me? So that's a question that's going to be answered tomorrow, hopefully, by the panel. And so we'll take it.
I mean, I honestly think it's kind of, I mean, we need it. It all falls into the whole global perspective of, climate change and things like that. But it's affecting all countries when we're trying to attract investors.
Yeah.
And all of that. If we were to implement something like this, what's going to happen to the small countries? I mean, Trinidad and Tobago is one of them.
Mm.
It was something that was started even back especially after the COP26 in 2021. You heard a lot about them talking about it then.
Yeah. That's when it came up, actually.
Yeah. So yeah, I really would like to hear the outcome of this. What is being said right now? You see it working for the other countries, but you don't see it working for the small man.
No, absolutely not. So we're gonna have to hear them say. We're gonna have to hear them say exactly how it's gonna work for us. Personally, I think the EU just is getting too overhanded right now. They're doing too much. They're overreaching, and they're trying to be a world power. And the United States just sitting and just letting them do it. The United States just sitting there letting them do it. They're letting them own this conversation on how the global economy should run. I don't think the EU is in any position to tell the rest of the world how the global economy should run, because they have a track record of blight and exploitation. And so we don't want to be under their thumb. And so that's why I talk about the United States. The United States is about freedom. The United States is about freedom. And so at the end of the day, we have to be very careful with Europe, because they're not letting go. They think everyone should fall under their mandate, and they should tax everybody, and everybody should just take people's money. And there's a historical backdrop to that as well, because they have a history of just thinking that our money is their money. It's that old elitist kind of monarchical kind of background, and it's not conducive to everybody, man. We're in a free country, man. So someone has to tell the EU to sit down, and someone like the United States will tell the EU they need to stop. Period. Point blank. Period. This is not, you don't run the world.
I agree. What I hear about it is really be something that is being pushed by European corporations.
Yes. European bureaucrats, to be honest with you.
The thing is, I mean, when you relocate your headquarters and thing, it really does work at a disadvantage. Because in Trinidad and Tobago, we've got countries like BG, British Gas, and BP as well. These are European conglomerates here. Well, European big corporations here in Trinidad, multinational corporations. So, and the thing is, it goes against whatever tax incentives we would have implemented in our regime to have attracted them here in the first place.
Yes,
And then you take that away from us. I mean, we're really dependent on that money
exactly.
for things. They're already coming and making profits of our resources too.
Exactly. Exactly,
So
Kim. Exactly.
it needs to be considered.
So it's just slavery and just economic oppression all over again. I don't think we should listen to them. I think that the conversation has gone too far. I don't even think we should be having a conversation about this. We should have just told them no straight from the bat. And the developing countries should just sit up and just say, no, we're going to tell you no straight off the bat.
But it's I think it was 142 members. They asked the group to address this tax avoidance. So it seems like it's quite a good bit. 138 countries already agreed to the first major overhaul of this international tax system. So, I mean, where does it go from there?
Yeah. We just keep letting them get bigger and bigger, Kim. And they won't stop. We have to stop them, Kim. Just like a wayward government never stops. You have to stop them. You have to stop them at the polls. You have to stop them pulling their tracks, Kim.
Then you've got to look at whatever loopholes they're putting into it as well.
Yeah, that's true.
They usually, when they implement these kinds of tax systems, these complicated tax systems, they usually put in some kind of loopholes for them to further benefit.
Yeah. Something that only they know, right?
Right. That's it. Just like what they're doing with when it comes to the financial institutions and regulating, for anti-money laundering and, corruption, things like that. So this is just another instance where they're going to, keep backhanded. Okay, well, you can't go there. You can't, collect this and that.
Just keep us One thing about them is so onerous, it's so nasty to me, right? They want us to monitor their corporations in our country so we could send money back to them. Are they stupid? They want us to monitor their corporations in our country to send money back to their countries. Why would I spend money sending money back to you? Why would I do that, Kim? Why do you think I would do that for you? It's the arrogance. Why do you think I would do that for you?
Yeah, it's really unfair. Any call for you to force any country to do it, and really, it's when you look at it. I remember from COP26, it was the African countries and the Caribbean countries that were actually clamoring against it.
Yeah.
Probably not clamoring, but they actually expressed a good degree of concern that it's not going to happen. We're not going to sign on to this just yet. And anyone that signs on to they're signing on their soul. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Indeed. You said right there, Kim, is signing on their soul.
Yeah. I mean, yes, you're afraid that you're going to lose whatever little pie that slice of the pie that you have. They're trying to hold on to the crumbs. It's really, really sad. It's crippling. It's their form of organization.
I'll say it just like this, Kim. We have too many sissy leaders. These leaders who can't stand up for themselves, who can't stand up and say, no, I'm not doing that. They don't want to bite the bullet. They're so used to their jobs, their cushy little jobs, and they're going to Europe every now and then to hobnob the rich hoity-toity people, and they don't want to take the lick. They don't want to say, no, I'm not doing that. Just take the loss. Sometimes you got to bite the bullet. It's like breaking up with somebody, you may love them a lot, but you have to break up with them because it's not good, Kim. It's not a healthy relationship. You have to tell them you have to go. It's just like this. You have to stand strong and say, no, I'm not dealing with this anymore. I'm not dealing with you anymore. I'm not doing this anymore. Stop. And it stops here right now.
And just like they spoke about these institutions being riddled with lawyers, we need to get all legal hats on a stronger game when it comes to really going through these contracts and what they're making.
Yes. Indeed, Kim.
And all the papers that go with it.
I think it just takes a bit of common sense as well, too, because what Mia Motley is doing is not really a bunch of legal jargon, not legalese. She's just a common sense person. There's a common sense, pragmatic person who's looking for things from a different perspective, and that's what we need. That's the kind of refreshing air we needed.
Yeah. Not afraid to say no.
No, she's not afraid to say anything, man. She stands up, man. That's good. I like her for that. Jessica policies in Barbados were a bit dodgy, but we have to see if it works out for her, man. So kudos to her. So Kim, we're at the end of sorry, we're at the end of the road, Kim.
Yeah, it's 9:30.
9:30 already. So how you feel, Kim? Any final thoughts?
I'm good. I mean, I wish you all the best. I'm going to be, hopefully I can tune in. Hopefully I'm not too late for registration if there is. And I
Over
can,
$400 to register for that.
wow, okay, never
Yeah.
mind. You'll
Like I
set
said, I told you I'm at the Big People's Table tomorrow. It's the Big People's Table, Kim. The Big People's Table.
Yuri Camp is doing his, I mean, for those who
I hope
don't
to have fun. I hope I don't botch any of the introductions. I hope to have fun tomorrow. You know, I don't botch any of the introductions and actually speak calmly and clearly for everybody to hear me, you know, with poise and grace. So Kim, that's us for tonight, man. Thank you for coming tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us again for another episode of the LimeVibe Live podcast. As usual, you can either subscribe to our YouTube page, click like on this video, or just subscribe to our YouTube page. It really helps us out a lot. Or you go to our Facebook page and you can click like to our Facebook page, LimeVibe, and you can like this video and you can subscribe to our Facebook page, Facebook or YouTube, either which one. Okay, so we're looking forward to you. So thank you again for joining us for another LimeVibe Live podcast. I'm your host, Yuri Camp, joined by my great co-host, Kimberly Ramkalawan from Trinidad and Tobago. And good night.
Good night.